Good evening, everyone. This is Josh Nicholas with JDN Capital. It is December 22nd, Sunday evening here, 2019. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at wheat futures contracts. I just put another video out on oats. So if you look at oats and you look at wheat, you're going to see that they're very highly correlated. They're both commodities. I mean, they're both grains, so it would make sense that they're going to be highly correlated. They both trade on here at the CME. Prices dictated by CBOT at the Board of Trade here in Chicago. And I'd like to say before we give any trade recommendations, like I do in all my videos, that these recommendations are for educational purposes. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into it. So, like I mentioned before, I like to look at long-term secular developments, especially on the daily chart when it comes to grains and other commodities. First thing that glared out to me screaming was, look at this multi-year beautiful downtrend. NAFTA was signed in 1993, but the effects weren't really seen until later. And then clearly from, it looks like the end of 2011, mid 2011, all the way up until about 2015, 16, really into the beginning of 2016. This entire period, we just saw a well-defined downtrend. A lot of money to be made shorting wheat futures contracts. Very similar to if you look at oats. I'm just going to pull that back up here again. You can see it's going down here, and it's going down here as well, but no way near as clean or as technically traded as wheat. And wheat tends to have a little bit more, wheat has more volume, so it would make sense that it also be cleaner. But it's almost to the tick, just boom, 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 boom. Reaction. And here we finally got a break above, and it really wasn't even with a lot of conviction. So even if we extend this out to the right, you can see that it looked like we got a little bit of follow through and wanted to break down below it. And then we got this gap higher, and then it looks close enough to what I would consider to be a retest. And then all of a sudden, then the election year 2016, Trump takes office, and then all of a sudden we've been the farmers are very bullish on Trump's policies and helping them out. But you can see clearly that by this trend or trend channel, you can see it's kind of like a megaphone type of development where you see the moves are being magnified, and it's an uptrend magnaphone, or is what I would say. Which means that technically it's getting a little bit weaker, and then you see the consolidation. So shorting a straddle using options would have been a great trade. Of course, having hindsight's always 20/20. That being said, then we see here, and a lot of speculation. We see the move in October, December. Then we had a little bit of a move reaction because it's very very linked to the supply chain. So you'd see wheat obviously kind of lag the stock market in a way. But as far as trading is concerned, and I like to look at technicals, and frankly, this was really a beautiful period of time where you can see it's almost like a beautiful triangle if you really think about it, where you had prior support, and a little bit there, a little bit of a bid. But looking at the difference, 935 to 50, almost 400 point. That's a pretty magnificent move. Obviously, you're not going to go down another 90%, but usually you can expect 50% of a magnificent move like that. So off 550, I'd expect about another 200 points lower. So 350 is pretty reasonable for a low point. So it would make sense, honestly, that our low point was right around 380. So it didn't get quite down to 350, which would have been like a price target. But clearly, you don't want to get too greedy. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And we'll be looking at hogs in a second here, but at least with wheat contracts, this honestly, it's almost like discovery for me. I haven't looked at wheat in quite some time, and looking at it right now, it's got me frankly very excited. Just seeing this, especially we're seeing this development right here, especially since over the last 6 months now. You can see this is forming kind of an ascending triangle where we see this double top. And then each time the bids are coming back, so we have this ascending triangle formation from 560 so another 90 point higher would be 550. So a move higher to 550 right here. I'm sorry, 560 to, what do we say? To force. Okay, so about 650. So another move higher to 650 would be very interesting. Just because looking back on charts, let's just see does that price target make sense. It kind of does. I like to see there might be a little bit of profit taking at 94. again here at 18, but there really isn't a lot of movement here until really it looks like the area of more price significance is right around here at around 625. So it's given the fact that we're seeing this development, I'd start to get, no, I don't want to time it perfectly, but if we can get close, and I'd be happy with that. So the other thing is we're seeing this, ascending triangle that's been forming over the last 6 months. What's also really nice is look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Do you guys see what that is? That's called a cup handle, vertical, and now it ran out of steam just a little bit right here. That's making even sense that it's consolidating. Looks like it might be also an enter bull flag as well. So I would be a very aggressive buyer at the open on wheat, and I'm not even sure if I would even wait for it to come back down to this trend line. I would initiate a trade tomorrow, frankly, on 12/23 here on Monday, right at the open. And we're looking at if we open the trade right around, let's say if we can catch a limit at 540 and a half, with both upside potential profit of 623, and then limited downside risk would be a break below this trend line. So with that all in consideration, I think that the most prudent move is to pull the trigger, make a trade, and you're looking at significant upside versus downside risk, and that's what I would recommend doing. And I'm actually going to place this trade on my own account tomorrow morning when I wake up. And with that, we'll call it a wrap.